At Lerubisi Lodge for a change because we got a 4x4, so what else can we do? This is the Isuzu D-Max X Rider. What does that mean? Well, it's a 1.9 diesel, it's a smaller engine, 4x4, and X Rider means it's got a couple of extra bits of trim, just looks a bit more fancy, a bit more the part. You can see we've taken it around the course already, both myself and Laurie behind the camera, and it's done a really good job. But we'll show you a bit more right now and you'll see exactly what it is. But as I always like to say, my thanks to Derek from Lerubisi for giving us some playtime on his course.
Hello, my name is Michael. I'm the owner of CHANGECARS and the host of the TV show All Things Motoring. I have one mission, and that is to make a difference to the motoring public. Making a difference how? Making sure that you have safe options, making sure that you have knowledge. In that regard, it is my absolute pleasure and privilege to work with Alan Rosenmeyer of MotorMatters. The man with a hat, I'm the man with no hat, he's the man with the knowledge. Thank you for watching.
Hi, I'm Alan R from MotorMatters, CHANGECARS and All Things Motoring. Today we're looking at another Isuzu D-Max double cab bakkie. Why do I say another? Well, if you look on the channel, you see we've tested quite a few of them lately. But this is the 1.9 litre version, but the X Rider. What's that? Well, it's the basic bakkie with cosmetic additions, with a lot of extra little features, all in the looks department and the cosmetics department, just to upgrade your basic workhorse bakkie into something a lot more desirable if it's your only vehicle. So let's just take a look at what I'm referring to. For example, you can see already up front the Isuzu in bold red on a big black grille. So a little thing like that may not sound important, but I think it is quite important. Nice daytime running lights over there, of course, as you would expect on every single vehicle you get these days. And pretty attractive, you can see alloy wheels on a 19-inch over here. It looks good, it looks the part. Nice clearance and nice articulation, because this is the 4x4 version. Now you can get the X Rider in 4x2 or 4x4, choice entirely yours, of course. Extra badging, well, not important at all, but it's there. And of course the blacked out door handles, things like that. Nice little side step over here for access, and completely standard double cab. Back over here you can see this space is fairly good. I'm not going to climb in, but you've got, I think it's an artificial leather trim with lots of red stitching, lots of red accents to tell you again it is the X Rider version, the sportier version. Comes standard with a sport bar on the back, pretty substantial one, and as you see the tonneau cover, which can be useful, can be a pain. It's up to you, depends what you're using your bakkie for. If it's a purely leisure bakkie, well then it's probably a useful feature, and quite an interesting treatment from the side round the back of the rear tail lights. Just to me looks pretty neat and a tiny bit different. And another nice thing is a pretty substantial step in the rear bumper if you're wanting to load things once the tonneau is taken off. Now, the X Rider is based on the 1.9 litre version. You know you get a 3 litre 4-cylinder, or this one, the 1.9. This puts out 110 kilowatts and 350 newton meters of torque. So it is not a ball of fire on the road. It's fine once it gets going, it's fine when you're on the freeway, but you're going to feel it pulling away from robots in town and in suburbia, and you feel it obviously if you want a quick overtake or something like that. This one, you get the option of manual or auto. This one's powered by the 6-speed automatic transmission that's standard across the Isuzu range. It's a torque converter. It does the job well. It does it fine. It doesn't complain. But it is a slightly old-fashioned, same as, I've got to say, this engine is an old-fashioned diesel. As in, a bit clattery, a bit noisy, but one of the unburstable style diesel engines that you know is going to last you pretty much forever if you're good to it and you look after it decently. So really, these are pros and cons and factors you need to take into account. Drives the rear wheels in normal use, but this is the 4x4 version. Let's see it on the road and let's check it out inside. The X-Rider is essentially a cosmetic upgrade on the standard D-Max. So taking that into account and taking into account the fact that we've tested quite a few of the D-Max range along the way already, and we've tested a few with the 1.9 litre engine. And I don't want to criticize, but it really is no ball of fire. But then again, for a workhorse bucky, you don't need a ball of fire. For a leisure bucky, which the X-Rider is trying to make it into, I would like more power, quite honestly, and a touch more performance. It's fine once you get it going, it's fine once you're on the open road, but around suburbia it's very slow away from robots and things like that. But you know what? It does the job, and as I say, once you get onto the freeway, once you get onto the open road, it's no complaint at all. And having the 6-speed automatic transmission, well, you know, the 6-speed, again, it just gets on with it without any complaint, without any hassle, without any hesitation, and you just don't even know it or worry about it in any way whatsoever. It just really is one of those vehicles that says, I'm getting on with it, now leave me alone, don't rush me, don't fluster me, and I'll do it. The ride is, again, just exactly like any other D-Max I've driven, and it's not the smoothest in the world. It's fair enough. This is still a bucky. And of course, the diesel engine makes itself heard. You know it's a diesel, it's got the clatter, it's got the noise, etc., etc. But you also know it's going to live and last forever. Jumping in behind the wheel, you can see we've done 302 kilometers on the test, 9 liters per 100. But look at that, 555 kilometers still left in the tank. That's quite something, isn't it? Just shows you this big tank, obviously, but also pretty economical for the type of vehicle. And it has been largely town driving, so I'm quite happy. I got in the upper 7s when I took it on the freeway. You come down to the steering wheel, it's got very basic buttons on the wheel. There's your sound system and your phone, and you do even get cruise control on this one. Now, because it's the X-Rider, note you get the little red flashes over there and on the doors, and red stitching on the steering wheel. And isn't that just the way it is when it's a special model or a sportier version? The infotainment screen is a bit smaller than you expect these days, but it does do the job. And of course it does include your reverse camera, which with that annoying beep every time you engage it. But anyway, but it does work, it does do the job, and I can't really complain. And it's a fairly comprehensive screen. It's got all you want, and I've got to compliment Android Auto works very, very well and efficiently. You come down over here, your aircon system, again, basic knobs. No complaint. One USB in the front over there, that's all you get. But this, of course, is the very important knob over here. That is your 2 high, 4 high, and push for 4 low. Now remembering, and you'll see there's a separate video in which we took it off-roading, and you'll see lots of the off-roading action in the separate video. But what is very important, of course, for the off-roading is over here, next to the gear lever, you do have a rear diff lock and a hill descent control. So just keep those two in mind for off-roading purposes. Very, very standard, traditional gear lever, your 6-speed automatic transmission. It's a torque converter. It's basic, it's simple, it's easy. Nothing to write home about, but nothing to complain about either. And you do, if you really want to have a manual mode, if you just push it to the right and a Tiptronic function. Old-fashioned manual handbrake. Got no complaints about that. You've got the dual on the dashboard over here, very plasticky, but still. You've got dual cubby holes, top and bottom, so it does give you good storage space. That's always important on every vehicle. And besides that, it's very, very standard, of course, D-Max, but your seats are slightly different. Notice you've got a slightly sporty style seat with, of course, X on it and lots of red trim. Other than that, completely bog standard D-Max as you would expect. Now the 1.9 litre puts out 110 kilowatts and 350 Newton meters of torque, and as I said on the road, I don't find it a ball of fire, but it'll lug you there all day, every day for many, many years to come. In X-Rider form, you get the choice between 4x2 and 4x4 with automatic gearbox. Now it's the good old story of, do you need a 4x4? If you need it, wonderful, and I've proven how capable this is off-road. But if you don't need it, in the case of the D-Max X-Rider, there's an 80,000 Rand price difference. And that's a lot. That really is a lot. So I'm suggesting you really think hard whether you need the 4x4. Remember, it does add weight and it does use a little bit more fuel because the added weight and the drag of the 4x4 drivetrain. Those are factors I think you really need to think about very, very hard. Well, what am I telling you? This as it is here, 740,000 Rand. I'm rounding it off, and you can get the 4x2 version, exactly the same thing, minus the 4x4 at 660,000 Rand. So 660 to 740 is a big difference. And I would think very hard about my personal circumstances and my personal needs. Other than that, they've taken the fairly basic, lower spec, smaller engined D-Max, and they've added cosmetics to it. Can I call it that? That's what the X-Rider is about. So if that's where you sit in the market and you don't want to spend another 100 and 150,000 Rand to go to the 3-litre version, well, it's a good option because you know it's going to last. And that's the point you've got to look at and you can never forget. Really is a choice you can make. You know how solid the Isuzu product is. For MotorMatters, Change Cars, and all things motoring, I'm Alan R. I'll see you next time. Savvy investing is best left to the experts. And when it comes to offshore investing, it's even more important to talk to an expert. Well, Earl Don from Forexpert is the guy you should be talking to for your offshore investments.